What are the implications of this message of possibility for leaders in South Africa? And how do we think and act differently as leaders to allow and ignite possibility? Previously, leaders thought that to get work done, they had to use a loud voice or force an outcome. The world today requires a different kind of leadership. Today, your role as a leader is to remind people that each of them matters, to let them see that there's an alternative to bullying and force.
And there's a piece of music which goes with that. Beethoven's 7th Symphony. It's on the same CD as the 5th. You can get them at the same time. It goes like this. That's skipping rhythm. And as Gabriella knows, because she's a flute player, she knows that's very difficult to keep that rhythm. Tends to fall into dum-ba-dum. Bum-ba-dum, bum-ba-dum. That's 1, 2, bum-bum, bum-bum, like a march. You do that for hours. This is very difficult to keep. When I did that recording with the Philharmonic Orchestra, because they're one of the greatest orchestras in the world, they knew the rhythm, right? So they began, they went yum, bum, 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 bum. But after a little while, it became bum-ba-dum, bum-ba-dum. I said, no, the rhythm is yum, bum, bum, bum. Oh yeah, yum, bum, 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 bum. I said, no, the rhythm is yum. No. Oh yes, yum, bum, 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 bum. I kept on falling back. My job is to remind the players what the rhythm of transformation is. See, the rhythm of transformation is lighter, brighter, faster, more buoyant than the rhythm of exaltation and blame.
We have a story about enrollment that has meant a lot to many people.
Very nice. I have a school in Boston. I don't have the school, I'm part of the school. It's a high school for the performing arts in Boston. I'm in charge of the musicians. And 4 times a year, they come to the Boston Philharmonic concerts, and they sit in the balcony, about 60 of them. And one day we had a concert, and it was one of the most exciting concerts we ever had. We had a violinist, who I think may be the greatest living violin player. He was 78 years old, he'd never been in Boston, and it was a great, great, great event. And people came from far and wide. They flew up from New York. There was a couple who came in from Oklahoma just to Boston to hear that concert. They couldn't get in. There was no tickets. It was completely sold out. So I came out to conduct the first piece on the program, and I looked at it. Every seat was taken. Amazing thing, you know, not a single empty seat. And then I look up in the balcony, and there are 30 empty seats altogether. It's my kids from the school. They went to the mall. They went shopping, and I was pissed off. I was really upset. And the next day I was driving to school to give my class, and I was talking to Ross on the phone. And I said, Ross, you can't imagine the stupid kids didn't come to the concert, they missed it. They went to the shopping in the mall. And she said, remember to apologize. And I said, apologize? Excuse me, they knew they had to go. It was in their program, they bought the tickets, they were keeping other people away. It was completely irresponsible. She said, remember to apologize. I had no idea what she was talking about. She talks like a sphinx sometimes. Absolutely no idea what she's talking about. And then just before I got in, I realized, before I got into the class, I realized what she meant. And I said to the kids, I'm so, so sorry. I didn't tell you about the concert. I didn't tell you about how amazing the concert was going to be and what an unbelievable violin soloist, and it was going to be a life-changing experience. I didn't tell you, so of course I didn't enroll you. I'm so, so sorry. I let us all down. So if people don't do what you want them to do, you can always apologize to them because you didn't enroll them.
So how do you know whether your leadership is lighting a fire of possibility in others? You look in their eyes. You look in their eyes. In the presence of possibility, human beings have shining eyes. If people's eyes aren't shining in your presence, you can ask yourself, who am I being that their eyes aren't shining? Who am I being? It's a wonderful question because it recognizes that you can't force change on other people. But you can shift how you're being. You suddenly have the power to generate possibility. As you radiate hope and let the other person be, You create an environment in which their eyes naturally light up. As we often say, the rhythm of transformation is a lighter tempo, brighter and more buoyant than the tempo of business as usual. It's a way of moving in the world. During our visit to South Africa, I was amazed to find that although we were involved in such a huge number of events over just 3 weeks, time itself seemed to slow down and expand, and there was all the time in the world. It felt as though everyone and everything was in collaboration. Indescribable beauty was all around me, shining from people's faces, from the music. All of nature seemed joyous, and again the sky produced a rainbow. I found a radiance and stillness in South Africa and in myself that I had never before experienced.
The body will feel light, engaged, optimistic, open, and the eyes will be shining.
And so your job as a leader is to keep the rhythm of transformation. The role of the leader is to create space and opportunity for people. Great leaders create space for each and every voice to be heard.
If we could understand that winning is not what it's about creating an environment where everybody can flourish, where all the voices can be heard.
I had an opportunity at the World Economic Forum a few years ago. Roz and I were there, and we met with former President Mandela, and I said to him what an honor it was to meet him, and that I said to him, you know, you are the first leader of Symphonia. And he said, oh, what's that? And I said, Symphonie, the sounding together of all the voices. You are the first leader who understood that your job was to make all the voices heard. That's Symphonia. And he big smiled, you know, that smile that you love so much. He said, I like that.
We all want a world in which all the voices are heard, whether it's a family, or it's a school, or it's an institution, or it's a company, or it's a whole country.
When people have room to be heard, they will be able to offer a unique contribution.
My picture appears on the front of the CD, but the conductor doesn't actually make a single sound. So his job is to make other people powerful. He gets his power from his ability to make other people powerful. I realized that my job was to awaken possibility in other people.
The way leaders make space for people to speak is by listening. Listening creates opportunities for contribution. Listening allows possibility. Listening is extremely powerful. It's a growing medium. When you listen to a cynic as a passionate person who doesn't want to be disappointed again, her passion blooms. When you listen for compassion in a person who has a frown on his face, love blossoms. When you listen to a person as possibility, negativity falls away. As a leader, you can always listen for the desire in people's hearts. Listen for what wants to happen. Isn't that what leadership is all about?